Those who fail to learn history are doomed to repeat it. Well, nowadays in the challenge, we know that majority of the new cast barely know what the challenge is prior to coming onto it. And let's just be real, some of the vets don't even know the history or watch the show either. So with that, we have seen cycles of the challenge where we have seen similar behavior or similar situations happen on the show, and I have selected quite a few moments that seem very similar to each other. Some deal with eliminations, some deal with seasons, and some are just so far out there, it's crazy to think that it's happened multiple times on the challenge. And the first instance I want to talk about is how many women find out that they are pregnant while either playing on the show or they found out that they were pregnant right when they get eliminated from the show. Now this goes way back, all the way back to season 6, where Gladys was playing on the women's team pregnant. The thing is that Gladys and production both knew she was pregnant prior to coming onto the season. She would regularly sit out of challenges due to the medical staff deeming it a high risk for her and her baby. However, the rest of the women on this list had no idea they were pregnant on the show, and the challenge had no idea. Including Gladys, a total of 7 pregnant women have competed on the challenge, spanning from season 6 all the way to the Challenge World Championship that premiered in 2023. To me, this is so unbelievable that it has happened so many times on the challenge. You have Melissa in Total Madness who made it all the way to the final and then withdrew from the game because she wasn't feeling well. Come to find out she was pregnant. You have both Liv and Natalie finding out that they were pregnant on Double Agents and having to withdraw from the game. Bettina on the Challenge 37, Casey from the Challenge All-Stars 2, and finally wrapping up with Amber from the World Championship. This feels so unique to the challenge. I've never really heard of any other reality TV show going through anything like this, not even once, let alone 7 times. Moving on to something a little bit more lighthearted. Now, the challenge has been known to have some pranksters on the show. One of the most notorious pranksters is the one, the only, Johnny Bananas. A classic Johnny Bananas prank was gluing feathers to someone who is passed out asleep. Johnny employed this prank in season 18, The Ruins, on Derek, who got very annoyed at him. Then Johnny waited 12 seasons to do this prank again on Dirty 30. Tony was in his bunk above Johnny, asleep. Being bored, Johnny thought that this was an opportune time to pull off a prank, and he feathered Tony just like he did Derek. Another one of Johnny's most infamous pranks was his notes in season 31 Vendettas. He sowed seeds of doubt with the women, leaving notes around the house with cryptic sayings. We found out before coming onto the season, Bananas had his sister write a ton of little notes that he could do mental warfare on the house.
How could you be so stupid?
Now, some may not know this. That wasn't the first time that Johnny used a note or written a note to try to fan the flames of drama in the challenge house. Because in Rivals 2, tensions were high between Diem and Nany when news of a quote-unquote battle rap or diss rap where Diem was dissing Nany after she was dancing on CT in the club, where in the next morning, Johnny, with the help of Leroy, wrote a diss rap through Diem's point of view to Nany.
I know this rap song makes me sound bitter. I can't wait to block her ass on Twitter.
That instance was more of a joke and a lot of people were in on it, and it was less destructive than, say, what happened in season 31 Vendettas. But before we move on, I do have to mention Bananas did do more note work in a show outside of the challenge called House of Villains, where he employed the note prank yet again.
How could you be so stupid?
Now let's get into a very unique situation when it comes to eliminations. Because one duo I found seemed to have gone up against each other more times than really any other two people have ever faced off against each other, and that is Paula and Anissa. They faced off against each other a total of 5 times over the course of their challenge careers, and it started from the very beginning of Paula's challenge career, where Paula and Anissa played against each other in the first ever pole wrestle in challenge history, which Anissa went on to win. But the next season, Paula would even the score, winning against Anissa in the shimmy elimination. There would be a few seasons in between their next elimination battle that happened in the Duel 2. They played in the back off elimination. It was a physical elimination, and Anissa showed to be better physically against Paula, taking the lead in their matchups 2-1. In season 21, they played in the very first elimination called Hands On. Paula and Evelyn played against Anissa and Robin, and yeah, of course, Evelyn and Paula won this elimination, once again evening their record against each other to 2-2. Their final elimination game came in season 22, in which Paula and Dunbar faced Anissa and Rachel in Banded Together. Paula would finish her challenge career with a winning record against Anissa 3-2. This is so fascinating because in the context of the seasons, there really wasn't any bad blood between Paula and Anissa, really. It feels like them facing off against each other so many times just happened organically. One couple that could organically argue with each other out of the blue at any given time was Jenna and Zach. One relationship argument I picked as a deja vu moment was them fighting over the phone. In Rivals 3, Jenna was on the show while Zach was back home. Jenna would constantly call Zach, but at a certain point, he stopped answering. And then when Zach did pick up, he called Jenna by the wrong name.
Who? Yeah. Are you kidding? Do you want me to just come home?
This put a lot of stress on their relationship and made Jenna cry. Jump 7 seasons later in Total Madness, when Jenna is on the show and Zach wasn't, she tried at certain points to call Zach, but he wouldn't answer. Come to find out, he was upset about something he saw in Jenna's Instagram DMs from years ago.
Don't lie to me about it. Don't lie to me about every little thing in your life.
Zach at least was able to call Jenna by her right name, but still put a lot of stress on her, their relationship, and again, made her cry.
Do you want me to come home?
As I just pointed out, the challenge can be very stressful, both mentally and physically. And one person that found out how stressful it could be on the body in very pivotal moments was Wes. In Fresh Meat 2, Wes and Mandy were in the exile. This was such an inopportune time for Wes to be getting a cramp.
I'm telling you, this thing's wearing on me. We have the worst cramp.
He would constantly stop, stalling both him and Mandy to the point where it led to them being eliminated from the season. Jump to 2 seasons later in the Rivals final, Wes would get another cramp. This time, a very serious cramp going up the mountain.
Shit then. Stretch it.
Luckily, his partner helped carry him a little bit up the way, something Mandy couldn't have done.
Let's go, Wes! Don't you dare stop!
Sometimes the challenge likes to reuse certain elimination games. Some are very popular, like the Hall Brawl or Pole Wrestle, but there's some games that aren't as popular, that show up once in a blue moon. And how crazy is it when the same person gets that same elimination seasons apart? In season 26, Leroy and Nia found themselves in the Elimination Dome against Johnny and Nani. They would be playing in the Strung Out elimination, an elimination that Leroy crushes.
Leroy starts.
After season 26, we really wouldn't see the Strung Out elimination or a variance of it used much on the challenge until season 36, Double Agents. This time it was called Fire Escape. It looked a little different, but was basically the same game. And wouldn't you know, Leroy went down and crushed it again.
Roy, he's like Flash.
Let's move on to a few eliminations that Nelson was in, where he had some tough matchups against quote-unquote friends. From that little introduction, everyone probably will guess that I'm going to be talking about Nelson facing off against Fessel in season 36's Hall Brawl. Not only was Fessel ready to send his own friend home, but he was willing to do whatever it took to win, like wrestling Nelson, ripping off his equipment, and putting dirt in his helmet. But this wasn't the first time a friend of Nelson's would play dirty against him. In season 30, Nelson was going up against his TYB Alliance member and friend Hunter in the Rampage elimination. During the elimination, Hunter can be seen grabbing Nelson's fingers and trying to bend them back. This is not as dramatic as what Fessel did, but still unnecessary to do to a friend.
I'm trying to pull his arm out of socket. I'm doing everything I can.
I mean, with friends like that, Who needs rivals? One instance that I didn't think we would see once on the show, let alone twice, someone claiming to have popped an implant. Let's go to season 18, The Ruins, where in an unforgettable moment featuring Siobhan, where she tried to do the daily challenge, but could never hang on to the rope long enough to finish the challenge, she kept on falling into the water hard, to the point where she felt,
I think I popped my implant.
We wouldn't hear another instance of this until season 39, Battle for a New Champion, where during the drum roll, Olivia fell off and hit the water hard, and in exit interviews would claim to have sustained multiple injuries, including
than it looks. I broke 3 ribs and popped my implant when I fell.
Another player who suffered a deja vu moment was Cara Maria, where in 2 instances she found herself getting second place in finals that took place in Thailand that featured a yacht. In season 24, Rivals 2, her and Cook came in second place behind Emily and Paula, where the final stretch was after you get all of your trophies, you had to jump into a kayak and paddle to TJ for him to declare you the winner. And the same thing happened in season 34, War of the Worlds 2, where the final stretch was getting in your kayak and then rowing to the boat to have TJ announce you as the winner. And in both instances, Cara got second place. And finally, let's talk about some cringe dancing at reunions. Because sticking with War of the Worlds 2, you have Paulie, who gets up and does some, I don't know, Michael Jackson, Bruno Mars type dance skills.
Is that Michael Jackson?
But jump 5 seasons later,
Looking like Michael Jackson there.
and you got Emmanuel dancing at the Challenge 39 reunion, doing his best Michael Jackson impersonation. Paulie danced longer than Emmanuel, which is interesting because Emmanuel is actually a dancer, but both happened at reunions, both were cringy, and both gave me deja vu and secondhand embarrassment. But those are all the deja vu moments that I picked out for this video. I know that this is kind of a unique idea that's kind of out of left field, but I thought that this would be a fun, out of the box kind of video. If you enjoyed this video, let me know down in the comment section below. Which deja vu moment is your favorite? Which do you think is the most wild deja vu moment? And were there any moments of the challenge repeating itself or a deja vu moment that you thought of while watching this video and it's one that I didn't mention in this video? Let me know that as well down in the comment section below. I want to give a special shout out thank you to everyone who supports me over at patreon.com/angelcakevids. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your generosity. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you to everyone who's watching this video up to this point. I'll be back really soon with more challenge content, more content in general. Until then, peace.